Please welcome our first oration, A Loving International Option, the Church's Divine Calling to Fund International Adoption, Keili Butler.
What images define childhood? A mother's arm gently cradling her baby, lulling it to sleep? The joy and excitement on a parent's face when their baby says their first words? Or a toddler steadily walking over to their parents with a smile from cheek to cheek? 153 million children around the world do not get the opportunity to experience the same childhood as described above. Half the entire population of the United States. In Chinese orphanages, rows of cribs line each room. Each crib is an arm's length apart from the next one. Some babies are awake. Some babies are crying. Babies who need their diapers changed won't get them changed because there are not enough caretakers to care for each child when they need it. How could there be so many children living in this reality? Adoption seems to be an answer to the problem of not enough parents caring for children in lower income countries. But questions to this solution arise. Is family defined by the biological connections or the social bonds? If family is the social bonds, then how can an adopted child overcome the potentially harmful cultural differences, such as being a different race from their family? Do Christians have a responsibility to adopt? Could adoption be the way of enacting God's justice onto the orphans? Although some might argue that international adoption is more harmful than beneficial to the child because the child's identity and sense of home are changed, I argue that adoption is a moral and honorable action that all Christians should financially support because through adoption, God's Great Commission is fulfilled, and through the benefits of assimilation, cultural differences can be overcome, including the stabilization of the child's identity. God's Great Commission calls us to evangelize to the world. Adoption allows parents a chance to share the gospel to a child who might not look like them to the world's watching eyes. Through international adoption, we are reflecting the diversity of heaven on earth being occupied by every nation, tribe, tongue, and people group. International adoption is an accessible way that the gospel can be shared to people outside of our own. Adoption is a moral and honorable action that reflects the nature of Christ and also the Christian story. For just as Christians are given a new identity through baptism, so too are adopted children given a new identity when they are adopted into a new family. As Russell Moore, author of Adopted for Life, says, adopted children are part of a new family with a new identity. Some question whether the child can overcome the potentially harmful cultural differences, such as problems with racism. When a child is adopted into a loving Christian family, the child can easily grow to love and trust in their new environment, therefore recreating that bond that had been broken during their orphaned life. In 2002, D.D. Francis conducted an experiment on rats to determine whether an enriching environment reverses the effects of maternal separation. Oxytocin, a hormone critical for a variety of bonding, including parent-child bonding and bonding between males and females, is released when someone feels loved. From the influx of oxytocin released from the rats after experiencing an enriching environment as opposed to an impoverished one, such as the one of an orphan child, Francis concluded that since rats and humans have similar endocrine and nervous systems, then an orphan child can experience the same positive result of rehabilitation of trust through an enriching environment. After a child is adopted into a loving environment, the child will keep growing in their strength, thus producing oxytocin. It is very likely that an adopted child can overcome the potentially harmful cultural differences. Consider also a survey conducted by the University of Chicago, where 86% of internationally adopted children reported that their relationship with their parents met or exceeded their expectations. If through international adoption, we are reflecting the nature of God, and by showing God's love that we receive from God onto a child that is not biologically related to us, then shouldn't we be giving to the church and giving to fellow Christians? Churches should be giving funds towards this organization through the church itself to their community of adoptive families. Christians should be supporting adoption, Christians should be financially supporting adoption, praying for those in need of adoption, and praying for those attempting to adopt. Through international adoption, we are reflecting that our identity is found as image bearers of Christ. Part of the joy and duty of adoptive parents is to teach their child that she was perfectly and wonderfully made, and that she is a daughter of Christ. International adoption did this for me. Adopting children is a loving, international option we should all participate in. Thank you.